Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au, and I want to talk to you tonight about media coverage of the state of play in our property markets around Australia, because as we get further into 2018, I think real estate consumers are going to struggle to make sense of the media coverage of property markets around the country. A large section of mainstream media has decided that the new storyline for them to obsess over is the so-called property market downturn, with prices apparently going to be falling everywhere. Previously, the obsession was the Sydney property boom, which ignorant journalists and commentators extrapolated right across the nation to create the so-called Australian property boom, the boom that never existed. The only market in the nation that in fact came close to replicating Sydney's boom, which lasted for 4 years, is Melbourne. And now that Sydney's party is finished, media's decided that the whole nation is going to have a real estate market downturn and the prices are going to be falling everywhere. And we're starting to see that popping up in newspaper headlines and in television coverage, such as on tonight's evening news on ABC News 24, the news channel. So they're going to latch on to any figures that appear to support that preconceived notion of a downturn, including recent monthly figures that showed that some of the Australian capital cities had apparently a downturn, a minor downturn in prices in the month of December. Those of us who have been spending most of our lives in real estate research know that month-to-month figures are irrelevant, they're aberrations, and you really need longer time frames to make any sense of what's happening in the underlying noise of property markets. You need at least quarterly data, but preferably annual data, to get a feel for the real trends. Month-to-month figures are usually very misleading. They're up one month, down the next, and ultimately irrelevant. Analysis of price data from multiple sources, which is what we do at Hotspotting, doesn't support the conclusion of prices falling and a widespread nature around the country. The reality, as we see it, is that Sydney's downturn is undoubtedly over, and there will be little growth in prices in Sydney as a general statement in 2018. Some markets, especially unit markets where there's already signs of oversupply, will see some price decline. Melbourne's still travelling pretty strongly, but the rate of price growth is going to drop as we get further and further into 2018. Hobart's still raging, and we expect prices to continue to grow strongly there in 2018. Canberra has only really just started its run, and many analysts, the real ones, not the pretend ones like economists who pontificate about real estate, and really they shouldn't, expect Canberra to lead the capital cities on price growth over the next few years. I'm not sure that it will be the leader, but it'll certainly be up there. It's really just starting its run, and we're going to see more growth from Canberra in 2018. Brisbane has been showing only very minor growth in recent years, but it's expected to improve this year as investors switch their attention from Sydney and Melbourne in search of better affordability and yields, and underpinned by improvements in the state economy and better interstate migration figures. More people are now coming into southeast Queensland than before, and that's expected to produce better price growth in Brisbane and southeast Queensland. Adelaide's also showing signs of improvement, and price growth is likely to be higher in 2018 than it was last year. Perth, which has been going backwards for the last 4 years, in contrast to Sydney and Melbourne, is now entering a recovery phase and is likely to show a return to price growth in 2018. It probably won't be major, but as we get into subsequent years, I think we're going to see some pretty good, strong price growth in the Perth market, particularly as investors realise the opportunity that exists there with prices down after 4 years of decline and not much competition at the moment from other buyers. Many regional centres have strong markets at the moment, and we're likely to see further growth in 2018 in areas like the Hunter region around Newcastle, in Victoria, Geelong and Ballarat. Have got strong markets that are going forward at the moment, and in Queensland, the Sunshine Coast and possibly the Gold Coast, boosted by the Commonwealth Games, will return to growth. Townsville is also very much a recovery market, and we're also seeing a recovery in many of those resources-related regional centres in Queensland as well as in Western Australia. which have been going backwards for a few years and now starting to show signs of recovery. So the bottom line is this, that the investors that will do best in 2018 are the ones who understand Australia doesn't have a single property market, but many different markets with contrasting fortunes. And some of those are going to be showing some pretty strong growth in 2018 and beyond. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from Hotspotting. Talk to you again later in the week.